Significant figures in calculations. So let's first look at adding or subtracting. So when you add or subtract numbers, you round the result to the same number of decimal places as the number with the least number of decimal places. So whichever one has the least amount of precision numbers, number of decimal spots. When you multiply or divide numbers, you round the result to the same number of digits as the number with the least number of sig figs, significant figures. So for adding or subtracting, you're just looking at how many digits are after the decimal and you go for the least. For multiplication or division, you're actually going for total sig figs, which is the least one. So adding or subtracting, here is an example. We have 12.11, 18.0, 1.013. So you're adding these together and you're only looking at how many digits are after the decimal. So a little trick is to stack them on top of one another, making the decimal all in one line. Then you can see that the limiting term is 1 decimal place. So when you sum them all up together, you get 31.123, and you would correct it to just 1 decimal place, 31.1. When you're multiplying or dividing, you're looking at overall significant figures. So let's say you multiply together 4.56 times 1.4. Now, 4.56 has how many significant figures? 3. 1.4 has how many significant figures? 2. So if you first again calculate, write as many digits as necessary, 6.38, that's 3 sig figs. Since you only want 2, you would round your last number. So when you're rounding, you look at where you're going to cut off your number. Since I only want 2 sig figs, I'm going to cut it off here at 3. Then you just look at the number right next to it. Since the number next to it is 5 or above, you round up. If it was below 5, you would round down. So we get 6.4, 2 decimal places. So I just went into this rounding. When rounding to the correct number of significant figures, you round down if the last digit is dropped to 4 or less. Round up if the last digit dropped to 5 or more. So again, 1.33, if I have to cut off right by this 3, since the number right after it is below 5, you round down. The other example here, so the number next to it is above 5, you would round up. Now I want to write you this example, 1.336. If I still want 2 sig figs, I'm still going to cut it off at this 3. Now, even though this number is above 5, the one that you're looking at is just the one next to it. So you would still round down. Another example would be 1.346. Well, this 6 would round this 4 up, but you're not looking that far. Since the 3 is where you're cutting it off, you're only looking at the number right next to it. Does it apply to being above 5 or below? Round only the final answer. Do not round your intermediate steps. Let's practice a little bit. Answer the following question. So 1,222 pounds divided by 2 inches. So not worrying about converting the units, just looking at numbers. 1,222 divided by 2. That gives you 611 exactly. Now you're dividing, so you want to go for the lowest number of significant figures. How many sig figs do I want? I have 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and I have 1 here. I need to divide. I'm dividing, so I need my lowest number of sig figs, which is 1. So what can I do to my 611 to get 1 sig fig? You can write in scientific notation. You can write 6 times 10 to the second to get 600. Or you can drop the 1 since they're all below 5 to zeros and have 600. You round down. 22.0 miles times 2 miles. So 22 times 2 is 44. How many sig figs is 22.0? 1, 2. Okay, there's a decimal, then the 0. So this counts. This is 3 sig figs. 1 decimal, then 0. So that counts 2 sig figs. So I want 2 sig figs. 44 is 2 sig figs. I am finished because I'm multiplying. 1,555 plus 0.001 plus 0.2 inches. You're adding here. So you're looking for the least number of digits after the decimal point. Let's stack them. 1555. This has that invisible decimal here. Then 0.001. Then 0.2. So let's add them together. What do we get? I get 1,555.201. Now, which one has the least amount of decimals, numbers after the decimal? 1,555 has none. So your answer should be 1555. Last one, 142 centimeters minus 0.48. So again, 142, invisible dot, 0.48, subtracting. 141.52. How many digits do I want after the decimal? Well, 142 has none, so that's my least. So I would cut it off right here. Now would I write 141? Well, I'm cutting it off here, and the number next to it is 5, so I would actually have 142. And that's how you kind of go around using significant figures in calculations and rounding. Now, most of the time, the next little part, we're going to do unit conversions. You're multiplying and dividing. So it's always looking at the least amount of sig figs. But when you are adding or subtracting, it's just looking at the digits after the decimal and then rounding appropriately